Wow, what a sick, twisted movie I have to talk about today. It's a movie that I approach very cautiously. This is a movie that some people may not even watch the review of because of the subject matter. Once I start talking and I get into details here, you may want to shut the video off. But if you're brave enough and you're curious or morbidly curious, keep listening. It's a movie called The Human Centipede First Sequence. Okay, there were three of these, as it turned out. This is a movie that's written and directed by Tom Six. It's a Dutch film made in Holland, and I got to tell you, it is to say it's not for every taste, not for everybody. Even horror fans, some of them won't want to watch this. To say that is an understatement. To say that it's not for every taste. Okay. Before I go into details, I want to tell you that director, writer Tom Six, just like the number six, SIX, he claimed that this was 100% medically accurate. But then I read that there was some dispute by professionals about that. It is a movie that I don't even know how to go about talking about it. I can't even think about it. Basically, it has to do with two young American women who are visiting Germany. And what happens in so many horror movies, in the middle of the night, in the woods, they get a flat tire. Nothing original there. And it's raining and thunder, rainstorm. And they have to try to get some help because they don't know how to fix a flat tire. So they wind up walking for about an hour in the woods, and they see one lone house with a light in it. So they try to get help. They're in dire straits, right? And who answers the door but a world-renowned expert, a doctor. I have notes here as Dr. Heiter, who was a retired surgeon. He was very famous or well known for separating conjoined twins. That's his expertise. But as we see very quickly, this person is completely deranged, depraved, sadistic, out of his head. Okay, I got to tell you, the performance of this character by Dieter Laser, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that 100% right. I do the best I can as the crazy surgeon, is what this whole movie's about to me. He does an excellent job. He plays a villain like none other. I have seen a lot of horror movies in my day. I have seen a lot of crazy mad scientists, lunatics, weird surgeons. Never have I seen a character like this in the history of horror movies. This has to be one of the most insane, mad doctors and deranged, maniacal madmen ever. Okay? And that, to me, in my view, as a fan of these kinds of horror movies, that is the entire thing that works. I was spellbound and captivated by this film, in spite of its concept, which I'll get to, just by Dieter Laser's performance and just by his character. Of course, the two young women, they seek help from him, and he is retired perhaps, but he still has another perverse fascination. He wants to create a human centipede. He wants to take three people and surgically put them together, conjoined one after the other. He's already performed the experiment with three Rottweilers. Now he wants to do people. It is an original concept. I don't believe anything like this was ever done. I got to give credit to the writer. I mean, Tom Six, very original idea. It's horrific. It's grotesque, the idea of it. But still, like I say, somehow it's weird and it really held my attention. And not so much because of what happens in the end with the victim, but just because of the way it's orchestrated. As I say, the performance by Dieter Laser, I can't say it enough. Uh, the acting is good in here. The young girls at first are just annoying, annoying young people, and then their acting isn't anything to get crazy about. But as the movie progresses, or some maybe degresses for some people, the acting really is top notch. Also, in this movie also has a Japanese businessman who is taken prisoner by this crazy doctor. He is going to be at the front, at the head of the human centipede. The two young ladies are going to be joined behind him. And I'll let your imagination run wild because the idea is that he wants to have them share a single digestive system. All right. Now, complete insanity, complete disgust. But boy, is it a good horror movie. I mean, it's tense, it's suspenseful. You root for the victims. You hate the villain. You want to see him get his, if possible. If it has everything that you want in that kind of a horror movie. Strong direction, fine cinematography. It's got eerie atmosphere and music. But the concept is grotesque, so it kind of loses you. And I just got to say, repulsive though it is, I have to say, horror movies are supposed to be scary, repulsive, terrifying. Put you off. It's a situation nobody would want to be in. We've seen lots of movies where there are, houses in the middle of nowhere, and would-be victims stumble upon the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time. This takes that to new levels. As I say, this, as far as I can tell, was very original, and I enjoyed the movie, in spite of its grotesque, concept. It's original. You got to give him that. Tom Six. You got to give him that. I feel a little guilty in a way saying that I enjoyed this as a horror movie. That's all. As a horror movie, it is a situation that is so. I can't use different words to describe it. So sick. You are repulsed. You have to remind yourself, as I do when I watch movies like this, and some people don't understand why some like me would. It's because you have to tell yourself, this is just a movie. Obviously, it's a movie. After the movie's over, director says cut. They all have a laugh. They clean themselves off. They go out to dinner. This is make-believe, but I got to tell you, this is not for everybody if you don't like horror movies. But I think some people out there might be morbidly curious about this, the way I'm talking about it. Disturbing for sure. Like I said at the early part of this, there were 2 sequels. I am curious. I want to see the 2 sequels at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I'm only going to recommend this to people who are game to try any kind of really intense horror movies, because as I say before I go, although the idea that's employed here is really sick and disgusting, again, it's the way this thing is made, the performances, especially by, once more, I'll name him again as many times as I have to, Dieter Laser, who was absolutely a wonderfully mad surgeon in this and holds it all together. He is off his rocker. He'd have to be to want to do something like this. And he milks it for all it's worth and delivers quite the performance. And also well made for a horror movie. It's a well-made horror movie that delivers the goods and unsettling you, disturbing you, freaking you out, making you afraid, and wanting to get the hell out of there. So there you go. That's what I think of the Human Centipede first sequence.